Good evening, and I would like to let you know that today's episode about this FDA alert, it actually comes with a companion episode that I published over on my other new YouTube channel, which is called Primetime. And that other episode, well, it's about the topic of this new industry that's popping up over in Silicon Valley, namely designer babies, meaning people who are mapping out the DNA of their embryos, choosing which character traits they want to keep, and then discarding the ones they don't. And if you want to know what they actually do with all of the embryos that they wind up not wanting, well, check out that other episode. I'll throw a link to it down in the description box below. And of course, if you choose, subscribe to that channel as well. Now, moving along to today's topic. Just earlier this week, on Monday, August 25th, the FDA came out with an announcement telling the public that they have actually officially suspended their approval for a certain vaccine. Quote, the FDA Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, otherwise known as the CBER, has suspended the biologics license for Valneva Austria GmbH's IXCHIK. Okay, I'm sorry about that. That was a bit of a word salad. Basically, IXCHIK or IXCHIK is the brand name of the vaccine, whereas Valneva is the France-based manufacturer. And IXCHIK is a vaccine for chikungunya, which is a mosquito-borne disease. And this particular vaccine, it was initially approved by the FDA to be administered here in the US back in November of 2023. It was actually fast-tracked in the FDA under what's known as their Accelerated Approval Pathway, their AAP. That's basically the mechanism that the FDA uses to speed up the availability of both vaccines and drugs for any illness that's both serious as well as currently untreated. And chikungunya, it fit that bill, and therefore the FDA approved that vaccine while they continued to collect further data. And let me show you a basic timeline of how that actually went. On November 9th of 2023, IXCHIK was approved for use by the FDA. However, the approval for that drug included a warning on the prescription label. Quote, the vaccine may cause severe or prolonged chikungunya-like adverse reactions. IXCHIK contains a live, weakened version of the chikungunya virus and may cause symptoms in the vaccine recipient similar to those experienced by people who have chikungunya. And those symptoms vary, but they include debilitating, prolonged joint pain, sometimes lasting for years. And also, alongside this approval, the FDA also required the manufacturer to conduct what's known as a post-marketing study to, quote, assess the serious risk of severe chikungunya-like adverse reactions following administration of IXCHIK. The study is intended to be initiated by October 1st, 2025. Meaning this post-marketing study was supposed to begin in October of this year. However, the adverse reactions were actually severe enough that the FDA was forced to act a lot sooner. You see, what wound up happening was that from November of 2023, when it was approved, you fast forward roughly a year and a half, and on May 9th of this year, of 2025, the FDA issued what's known as a safety communication to the public. It's basically like a federal public service announcement. And in it, the FDA recommended the immediate suspension in the use of IXCHIK for those over the age of 60. And the reason that they gave was that the FDA and the CDC, they were jointly, quote, undertaking an investigation of post-marketing reports of serious adverse events, including neurologic and cardiac events in individuals who have received the vaccine. However, interestingly, almost exactly 3 months later, on August 6th of 2025, the FDA actually reversed themselves and they lifted the pause on this vaccine, although they did also force the company to include additional risk warnings on their labels. But then, you fast forward another roughly 2 weeks, and on Monday of this week, the FDA reversed themselves again, suspending the vaccine not only for those above the age of 60, but actually this time for everyone 18 plus who was initially able to get it. Their reasoning was that the risk-to-benefit ratio became skewed after a significant number of serious adverse reactions were reported. Quote, the FDA's decision is based on serious safety concerns related to the vaccine, which appears to be causing chikungunya-like illness in vaccine recipients. There has been 1 death from encephalitis directly attributable to the vaccine and over 20 reported serious adverse events that were consistent with chikungunya-like illness. Reported serious adverse events have included 21 hospitalizations and 3 deaths. They then went on to add that atop the serious adverse reactions, the other reason that they were canceling the approval was the fact that the clinical benefit of this vaccine had not been verified yet. Quote, furthermore, the clinical benefit of the vaccine has not yet been verified in confirmatory clinical studies. The Center for Biologic Evaluation and Research's benefit-risk analysis broadly shows the vaccine does not have benefits outweighing risks under most plausible scenarios. For these reasons, we believe this vaccine is not safe and that continued administration to the public would pose a danger to health. And therefore, the license for administration has now been suspended. Now, in response, the CEO of Valneva, which is the France-based manufacturer of that particular vaccine, he came out with a statement saying the following, quote, as we determine potential next steps and as the clear threat of chikungunya continues to escalate globally, Valneva remains fully committed to maintaining access to our vaccine as a global health tool for addressing and preventing outbreaks of this devastating illness. Just for your reference, in terms of the business impact, shares of Valneva dropped about 21% after the FDA suspension. All right, just to pause here for a super quick moment, I'd like to introduce our sponsor and my own personal gold dealer, American Hartford Gold. Now, as soon as the latest round of tariffs hit, almost immediately, the stock market hit some serious waves, we could say. It became super turbulent, very volatile, and of course, these conditions don't just affect Wall Street, they affect all of us with our investments and our retirement accounts. That's why I want to introduce a company that I trust and I use myself to help secure my own savings, American Hartford Gold. They specialize in helping Americans move their assets into something tangible, something you can actually hold, physical gold and physical silver. Two precious metals that help me sleep better at night, knowing that I have a hedge against all those brilliant decisions being made over in Washington. Now, they have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, they have thousands of 5-star reviews, and they make the whole buying process super simple. Your metals can be shipped directly to your doorstep, or you can transfer your current retirement account to a tax-advantaged gold IRA. And the best part is that right now, American Hartford Gold is offering an exclusive buy one, get one deal for my viewers. When you call them and mention my name, Roman, for every 1 ounce of gold that you purchase, you can get 1 ounce of free silver. And so take advantage of this special offer. Either call 866-242-2352 or simply text Roman to 65532. That's again, 866-242-2352 or text Roman to 65532. I'll also throw their information. It'll be down in the description box below. Now, moving forward, Valneva as a corporation released their own statement saying that this move by the FDA was sudden and that, quote, the serious adverse events recorded following vaccination featured symptoms consistent with those reported during clinical trials and that the labels accurately list warnings and precautions. The label had warned that IXCHIK could cause serious, severe, or prolonged chikungunya-like illness, citing trial data and reports following approval. Valneva is continuing to investigate these cases in detail and, if warranted, will pursue further steps in connection with FDA's decision in accordance with applicable statutory procedures. In the meantime, while they're doing that, if someone here in the US is concerned about the prospect of getting the chikungunya virus, there is actually another vaccine that's currently available. Quote, another vaccine against chikungunya, Vimkunya, is still available in the United States. The FDA approved it in April for people 12 years of age and older, and the CDC recommends it for people traveling to areas with chikungunya outbreaks, as well as laboratory workers who could become exposed to the virus in their work. Vimkunya utilizes a molecule resembling the chikungunya virus to trigger an immune response, unlike IXCHIK, which contains a weakened form of the actual virus. And just for your general reference, as I'm sure you're wondering, when you're traveling to the following areas is when you should be thinking about chikungunya. In our hemisphere, you have the Caribbean, including Puerto Rico, most of Central and South America, some parts of North America, including Mexico, which has recently been having an outbreak. You have almost all of Africa, Asia, including both Southeast Asia, India, and the Pacific Islands, and parts of Europe. France has actually been having an outbreak. And right now, China, especially in the south, in the Guangdong area, is having apparently an outbreak as well. They sent out alerts. And so if you're traveling to those areas, just, I guess, be mindful. If you want to read either the advisory from the FDA or if you want to go through that full timeline, regarding this virus and the vaccine, I'll throw those links down into the description box below. And also now I should mention again, if you're interested in that companion episode that I just published over on my other YouTube channel, the one about this new industry of designer babies, being able to basically look at all of the genomes of all your different embryos, choose the traits that you want and don't want, pick that baby, and let's just say discard the rest. If you want to know about that industry that's cropping up, check out that episode. I'll throw a link to it. It'll be down in the description box below. Interesting stuff, I guess, to say the least. There's a way to put it. And then for this episode, please do like the episode, subscribe to the Facts Matter YouTube channel so we can get more subscribers, and then you can get hit with notifications every time we release new episodes. Leave your thoughts in the comments regarding this latest vaccine recall from the FDA. And until next time, I'm your host, Roman from the Epoch Times. Stay informed, and most importantly, stay free.